U.S. knife maker Adam Purvis makes badass knives. He was born in the U.S. in the later part of the 1900s and looks something like this. He quickly grew up, learning things that would help him eventually become the premier knife maker that he is now in the future. In his future, that from then, not now, not our future now. Anyway, he did all the stuff kids did back then. Catching things, hanging out, playing terrible video games, even drinking delicious hose water. Eventually, even finding love. Later, Purvis became a firefighter and did that for a while. This is actually Adam here with his team. He looks like the kind of guy who'd kick my ass for stalking his Facebook to get this pic, and rightly so. Anyway, after putting out many fires, he decided knives were safer. He first started making custom knives, then moved to custom upgrades like Damascus clips and such. Finally moving to production knives like these beauties. Now, today, in the future from back then, Adam Purvis is a top name in the knife game, coming out with new designs and doing knife podcasts with friends. I don't think he's gonna stop anytime soon. Wow, that was informative and exciting. So what do we have here? We have the Adam Purvis XERX. Now this is an integral, and this is the only integral that I own, and it's pretty damn cool. Having an integral is kind of a neat thing. Some people might say, well, it's a bit of a gimmick. You could just have a regular standard knife that has two parts and is attached together, and how's the integral any better? It definitely feels a little different. It has a weirdly solid feel. I don't know how to say it. Like it's very rigid. It doesn't move. Like there's no movement. There's no play. There's nothing like that. It just feels super solid, even for not being a very big knife. It's not a huge knife by any stretch. Let's see, what do we have here? We have this little guy. This is a Kaiser, what the heck is it called? Kaiser Hyper. So the XERX is only a little bigger than the Hyper. Well, I guess it's actually, is it a 3.5 inch blade? I don't think it is, right? This is a 3.5. Okay, wow, the XERX is actually a little bigger than I thought it was. It's a full-size knife. It feels like a 3.25 kind of, because it's so light. How light is this guy anyway? Let's get a weight on the APurvis XERX integral here. Okay, 4 ounces. It actually doesn't feel like 4 ounces. It feels like 3 ounces, So, I don't know. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's got real good balance. The balance is right where it should be. Just super, super nice. What do we call this blade shape? It's almost like a kind of a sword from the Middle East, kind of scimitar type of a look almost to it. Very cool. It's flipper only, the way they make it, but I added this little add a stud because I gotta have the reverse flick. I got to. And it works really, really well, and the thumb flick does too. So that is a thing I would recommend if you get one of these guys. Now, if you just like flipper only, then that's fine. You don't need anything else. I love speed holes, of course, and I love vent holes, of course, and this one has all of the above. Really nice clip, too. Works really great. Just a really well done design. Great lock access, too. Like, really easy. Now, it's not super drop shutty, but it's, with one little shake, it comes down. So you'd say it's super smooth and, close to drop shutty. Not quite drop shutty, but pretty close. Got a nice clicky sound. Got a real nice drop sound. Kind of a semi-metallic little, very perfect centering. I would say the blade it comes down to about a medium edge. Not super slicey, but I mean, it's pretty slicey, I would say, for, not a super tall blade. Sometimes if you have a super tall blade, you can get, a higher angle on the grind. So it comes down to a finer edge. Well, you could do a finer edge on either one, but then it depends on how quickly the edge gets wide. And like this one, because it's such a tall grind, it can stay thin for longer, basically. Where this one has to, since it's only about a 3/4 inch grind there, it has to come up to the thickness of the blade. Although this is a pretty, moderately thin blade for a pocket knife of today's standards. A lot of pocket knives today have some pretty thick blades. Let's compare it to this 6-leaf. Now, let's see. Yeah, significantly thinner than the 6-leaf. So I would say it's a pretty slicey blade. Very comfortable handle. I mean, yeah, even with my little added thumb stud, has real good ergos. Just this kind of neutral 2 fingers here, 2 fingers here type deal. Seems to work really well with a lot of knives. I think it's a plan that should be copied by others. It works really, really well. I mean, and it is sometimes, but a lot of times people do this deal. This is a real common deal where they just have the one finger choil and the rest is kind of flattish, But I like that kind of divided in the middle with a little rise, so it gives kind of a 2 and 2 locked in, but not locked in feel. This is a great knife. I think they're still available, the XERX in this format. I got this one used, but I really, really like it. It's a great knife. And Adam Purvis seems like a really cool guy. I was listening to one of his podcasts with the knife nuts, I think. And, not a super talkative guy, but once they get him going, he'll definitely talk about stuff. And he has some interesting things to say about the knife world. So, that's the Adam Purvis XERX. And I hope you all have a nice day.